that, so I won't have to call him.
I did ask you about it. What is the hardest
Yes.
meetings you go to?
So acknowledging that some of these advisory committees do need revamping because some are more well attended than others. But I also want to point out that there is cross-representation in some of these other groups as well. So just because one particular advisory committee is poorly attended does not mean that issues pertaining to that one particular demographic don't get raised at other meetings. But I will also acknowledge that, yes, we do need to go back, and I would like to go through all of them. And also, I mean, we have a lot of advisory committees, as do other bureaus as well. I'd also like to see how we can leverage our partnerships with the Office of Community and Civic Life as well, who also maintains advisory committees, to see if we can address all angles.
And I wanted to remind the listeners that this community engagement plan comes out of the 2012 settlement agreement, which was supposed to be done, 160 days after the settlement agreement was affirmed. So we are now in October of 2019. And it was supposed to be a plan that was led by the community with input from the police, with input from community organizations that actually engaged with the police. And so this plan was put together. Chief, I stopped it before you came because they were trying to do it before we hired you, which I thought was stupid, and the mayor agreed, so we stopped it. So I just want the community to understand that this is not a Portland Police Bureau vision. This is something that was mandated by the DOJ, and it took us a very, very, very long time to even get to a draft. My concern is that once again, this is led by the police and not led by the community. I went to one of the earlier community meetings that was supposed to be gathering community input into a community engagement plan, and I wasn't the only, everybody at that meeting was really ticked off because the way the information was presented made it sound like the facilitators had an outcome that they already had predetermined. And so all the people in East Portland who came to that particular meeting to actually have input into the community engagement plan left very frustrated. We were all promised that people would get back to us and we would actually have an opportunity to re-engage, and that did not happen. And so I just want that to be on the public record, that while I appreciate the beginning of the community engagement plan, it is not the plan that was envisioned by the Department of Justice or the community back in December of 2012. Thank you.
Anything else?
I think one thing I forgot to mention I think would be great to just highlight in the annual report, I think it was the annual report. Anyway, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission that PSEP had proposed, I think this is a great way to address the historical legacy of racism in Portland, especially around policing in all institutions here in Portland, and it's something that we look forward to helping work on in the future.
I hope that's going to be led by a community effort and not being led by the police.
Absolutely. I hope to.
Great. Does that finish your presentation? I just want to say this, first of all, Chief, thank you. And Lakiana and Nadeem, I want to thank you. In large measure, you are the community representatives helping to drive that process, and I thank you for it. I do have sort of one surprise question for both of you.
Sure.
The last time we were in front of Judge Simon, he gave you accolades for the good work that you're doing on PSEP. He indicated that he thought you were demonstrating independence from myself as mayor, from Chief Outlaw and the Police Bureau. But he also indicated that he was somewhat concerned, and other members of the community indicated they were concerned there wasn't more community involvement. People weren't showing up in the kinds of numbers that one would expect, and I know you've done things to try and encourage that. Where are you with that, and how can people get involved if they want to come and participate in what you guys are doing?
Yeah, we hold our meetings the last Tuesday of every month. Community engagement is a challenge, ongoing. It's something that we're working to do. Meetings like we're having tomorrow night, where we're engaging on topics that the community's interested in, are our way of doing that. And it's going to take some time. I think there was a lot of apprehension about where PSEP was going, and I think the best way we can do it is by producing results that the community is looking for. I think there could definitely be some support in the form of possibly a staff member. I know that it was part of some plan to maybe have a community organizer. Just in the work that we're doing every month, we're spending at least 20 hours of volunteer time, close to 20 hours depending on, you know, the month and the member, that's at that level, just to bring everything together. And now to go out and do community engagement is, in addition to what we're already doing, is challenging. So I think a staff support or something like that would be helpful, but in addition to that, what we're already doing is working on the issues that the community cares about. I think that'll address some of it as well.
Yeah, good.
Oh, wait,
And I'll
no,
make
that's
this
not Chloe.
commitment again. I've already made it to you a couple of times, but I'll make it again.
Same glasses.
I know Nicole Grant from my team, who's been heavily engaged in this. We want you to be successful for a lot of reasons. You establish your own agenda, which is something people may not understand, so it really is a community-driven agenda. But we would like to see more active participation from the public at large. And I know you guys are really working hard and busting your chops on your own dime as citizen volunteers. So I want to thank you for that. And if you have proposals that you'd like to give to me that you think might further community engagement or community involvement, I will absolutely carry that to this council. And I think you would find a receptive audience.
Thank you. Anything you want to add, Vadim?
No, I definitely in my time, I've seen more people involved. In the last meeting, probably had about 50 community members. It comes and goes with respect to what's on the agenda, but for anybody out there listening, the website describes all of our meetings. If you just Google PSEP, it'll come up, and it's not just the people in the committee that are making these decisions and helping out. We gladly offer and accept the help of community members to sit on our subcommittees, to hear their voice and their participation, and to bring their background and knowledge to the table as well. So,
And before I get to Commissioner Hardis, could you give us some idea what some of those subcommittees might be, just to potentially pique some people's interest?
Yeah, so we have the policy agreement subcommittee, we have the youth subcommittee, which focuses on engaging youth, which, by the way, we have 2 youth members that sit on the committee, race ethnicity committee, and then a committee for persons with mental illness. And so between the 4 of those, there's a lot of opportunity to get involved and for community members to sit on them, which they already do.
Thank you, appreciate it. Commissioner Hardis?
I actually did not have an additional question. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Great.
Thank you.
So we have, we'll take testimony on the resolution. How many people do we have signed up?
Possibly 6.
Very good. Bring in each name for the record, please.
Are Jan and are Maggie here? All right, then we'll go with Dan Handlemen, Debbie Iona, and Robert West.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your patience.
Good afternoon, Mayor Wheeler. I'm hoping since we have so few people testifying, that maybe I can get 4 minutes to testify this afternoon.
3 minutes, please.
I'm Dan Handleman with Portland Cop Watch, and we appreciate the opportunity to testify about these important items. The 2018 annual report reads a little less like a public relations document than the 8-page infographic report that came out in past years. To the Bureau's credit, they note the impact of 6 officer-involved shootings on the community, but they ignore the death and custody of Richard Berry. There are also no statistics about use of force, the main focus of the DOJ agreement. There are multiple mentions of policing protests, but none about PPD's use of force at those events. Unlike the IPR report, the Bureau does reference the OIR Group's 2018 report on deadly force incidents, but there are no specifics about the changes made to PPD practices as a result of that report. There are also no statistics on discipline. Even when those numbers appear in the IPR's report, the Bureau should put in those data and reference IPR for more details. PCCEP recommended this change as well. This is the first presentation of the PPD annual report to City Council since the DOJ agreement was finalized in 2014, even though it's been required by the agreement all of these 5 years. The precinct presentations were poorly promoted, poorly attended, and from what we heard, poorly run. As for the community engagement plan, another requirement of the DOJ agreement, we hope the city doesn't feel the meager efforts listed in the resolution today are sufficient community outreach to finalize the plan. It lists the specific days the Bureau engaged with PCCP at a few subcommittee meetings, which don't even have more than 1 PCCP member at them sometimes, and portions of the 2 full membership meetings, including one that took place 6 days after the resolution was drafted. We do appreciate, though, that the resolution recognizes the City Council has to approve the plan, which is important since all of you are responsible for the Police Bureau, how the Police Bureau functions. It is also good that the text leaves open the idea of modifying and updating the plan on an annual basis. It will be argued that PCCP meetings were the Bureau's public input efforts. However, generally speaking, there are about equal numbers of community members and PCCP members at these meetings, about a dozen of each. It's indicative of the Bureau's poor understanding of community engagement that today's hearing was announced with 8 days' notice, which is not enough time to get more people here. The key recommendation that was mentioned is the plan for a Truth and Reconciliation program. But what it actually says in the plan is they will actively engage with mayor and city council, relevant bureaus, and other civic leaders to develop a work group to explore the creation of a Truth and Reconciliation program. So that's 3 layers deep into the goal. And it doesn't acknowledge that truth and reconciliation can't come without the end of the behavior that leads to the process. In South Africa, apartheid fell, but no part of community engagement plan promises to end police use of deadly force, racial and economic profiling, violent crowd control tactics, or other issues that are causing the rift between community members and the police. And I guess the last thing I would add is that the plan calls for the creation of a Hispanic Advisory Council. The old one disbanded after the officers who killed Jose Mejia Pope in the mental hospital in 2001 were given medals. And I think until that is reconciled, you should not, we can do